Today I'm going to talk about social networking and how it's going to create value in terms of long-lasting, tangible business models. It was the year 2004 when Google came out with its IPO. Around that time, the analysts in the Wall Street started saying Google is the son of Netscape, at least in terms of rejuvenating the IPO environment in the favor of dot-com companies in the Wall Street. 6 years have passed by. The history might repeat itself, and this time around the characters would change. The same Wall Street might say Facebook is the son of Google. What makes Facebook special? Is it the 400 odd million subscription, or is it something beyond that? Just in case Facebook goes for the IPO, what are the valuations we are talking about? We are talking about 20 billion or 40 billion or 2 billion. Will Facebook be able to deliver the same kind of appreciation post IPO as Google did? There are a lot of questions around the quantum of value that these social networking sites are possibly going to deliver in the years to come. What I'm going to do in the next few minutes is to sort of break that mystery and sort of create business models through which I think social networking sites might possibly be able to deliver the value. Now let's look at investment banking as an industry. We all know that investment banking thrives on networking. It simply involves identifying an arbitrage opportunity and then trying to match up it with right kind of investment. Now to me that exactly is the essence of social networking. It sort of brings people with common interest on the same platform, often with the same kind of attitude and sometimes with the same kind of value system. So to me, investment banking will take a lot of leverage from social networking as an event. The Vaidya Capital Services, based out of Bangalore, India. The promoters had absolutely no background in investment banking, but they've been able to kickstart the business, have a revenue model, generate surpluses, and all this, they claim, is because of LinkedIn. And by their own admission, it would have taken them at least a decade more to build up the same kind of clientele as they have today had they followed the conventional media or the conventional approach and not social networking. Social networking has been able to actually take out one of the largest entry barriers in the investment banking as an industry, because if you look at the traditional investment banking firms like your JP Morgans, Rothschilds or your Lehman Brothers, their core competency, their comparative advantage is actually the relationships they have built over a century. If that is not there, you would see investment banking as an industry to become extremely competitive in the days to come. And as we know, when an industry becomes more competitive, there is an obvious pressure on the price. So because of social networking, what we're going to see is a far more competitive investment banking industry, and as a result, the fees and margins are going to come down. Boy, that's fantastic. Another industry that I would like to draw your attention is your traditional recruitment business, the so-called headhunters. With something like LinkedIn, a hiring manager actually doesn't need a recruiter anymore. Through LinkedIn, a hiring manager is actually or potentially can be in touch with a large talent pool at the same point in time that he can hire given a requirement. What do you get through LinkedIn? A complete access to the resume, endorsements by the bosses, the peers, and the subordinates. The entire verification process is extremely easy because you have common links. And most importantly, that's a two-way communication channel. Now let me emphasize what I mean by a two-way communication channel. We all have been hired, we all have quit, and we all have faced interviews. While the interview process is going on or about to just get started, there is a little bit of anxiety in our heart because we know very little about the hiring manager. But that's not a problem with LinkedIn. It's a two-way communication because the interviewer knows as much about the candidate as the candidate knows about the hiring manager. That's just fantastic for any hiring process. So if this is an indication, what I envisage is in the days to come, traditional companies are going to carry a far leaner, meaner, and thinner HR department in general and recruitment channel in particular. Now let me shift the focus to the impact of social networking on the electronic media. We all have followed the electronic media for the Twitter battle between the suspended IPL chairman LK Modi and the former External Affairs Minister Shashi Tharoor. The entire national media, both electronic and press, followed it for a week. Now imagine what they were doing at that point in time. Were they following any press conferences? No. They were just visiting the blogs, the sites of the who's who related to that matter. Now if this is any indication, the relevance of press conferences is actually for a toss in the days to come, because everything you could do is actually through social networking sites. Now imagine if that happens, what is the kind of savings that it will follow? You don't need the cost to travel to cover an event. You don't need the logistic support to manage an event, and you don't need the huge infrastructure to collect information and disseminate it. To me, the business model of something like Reuters actually needs a rethink. There are many other ways through which social networking can create and deliver value through stable business models. For instance, take the partnership business model. Imagine tomorrow MySpace collaborating with Warner Bros. Is marketing a movie. Imagine MIT is partnering with LinkedIn to promote their latest module on derivatives management. Imagine Microsoft is partnering with Facebook to give a certification program on the advanced Excel of Microsoft. We are talking about giant brands and huge target pools. The power that will be unfurled from this is just going to be enormous. Interestingly, as social networking starts delivering value, there will be obvious pressure on the ancillary. First and foremost, a lot of data privacy issues have to be resolved. The additional cost of buying bandwidth has to come down. There needs to be enormous expertise that needs to be created on optimizing digital content. And if you're talking about a huge used goods market, the logistics and transportation cost has to come down significantly, at least in the developing and underdeveloped countries. But interestingly, if there is one industry which is going to gain through social networking for sure, that's the industry of personal computers. So to me personally, I think social networking has a huge potential in terms of delivering financial wealth in the days to come. Interestingly, social networking that probably started as a method to kill the boredom of the individualistic West is sitting on a multi-billion-dollar bill. For a minute, just think what I said is wrong. I don't make sense. But at least you'd agree with me that social networking has helped people to stay connected with their friends and relatives. It has made their life a little more smarter and a little more fun. So in a way, if not anything, social networking has at least added to the happiness of the people, and happiness, as we all know, doesn't have a price tag. So at least if it doesn't add any value, social networking is still priceless. Thank you.